Relations Committee. We would like to thank Easthampton Media for recording tonight's meeting. All past meetings of the CRC can be found on our city website for viewing at any time. All committee members and participants in this meeting are gathered remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic under an executive order of Governor Baker on March 12, 2020, and is extended by him on June 16, 2021, allowing us to do so. For the benefit of those of you who are joining us from the community, I'd like to start this meeting by sharing our committee's mission statement. I'm saying all this for the purpose of the recording, by the way. Our mission is to promote positive relations throughout Easthampton's diverse population. We will work to build a sense of inclusion, community, and pride where community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. And we'll begin tonight's meeting with a roll call. Rebecca Passa.
Here.
Patty Dougherty.
Here.
Emily Britton.
Here.
Margaret Kirstein.
Here.
Deborah Lusnia. Present. Jan Norman, not available yet. Myra, not here yet. Gabby Stevenson, not here tonight. Okay, so there's 5 of us and we're proceeding with a quorum. First on the agenda is the approval of our minutes. Rebecca has put together a masterpiece of minutes that she is putting forth for approval for our meeting on November 9th, 2021. Do we have any, we'll ask for a motion on the floor to be stated first, and then we'll have discussion if there's any. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, motion to approve. Is there a second? Margaret, you seconded it?
Well, I firsted it, but I'll second it too.
Patty, did you say the motion to approve?
I did.
Okay, so
I'll second it.
Margaret's seconding it. Okay, is there any discussion, comments, suggestions for change, anything?
I liked them very much the way they were. It was a treatise. It was, thank you. I appreciate those kind of minutes sometimes.
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
Thank you.
So as I discussed with Deb, I won't always do that, but when we have some of this input that is good for our training and that, I think, I personally would want to go back and look at that. So, so that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted for November 9th, 2021? Oh, I can't do that. You want me to do roll call? Okay.
I think so. It's hard to say now. This is a different format. And I'll have to see how the recording turns out.
Okay, I'll just go through the roll call list. Rebecca Passa.
Approve.
Patty Dougherty.
Yes.
Emily Britton.
Approve.
Margaret Kirstein.
Approve.
Deborah Lusnia, approve. So 5 unanimous approval. The minutes motion has passed. Approval of the minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, announcements. I do not have any announcements to share at this time. Does anyone else have any announcements to share at this time?
No.
No.
Not at this time.
Okay, I am wondering, before we move on to the next segment, is Mayor Lachapelle planning to join us?
I did my best to invite her and follow up with Lindsay, who thought she should be able to join us tonight. So I think so, but she's not here until she's here, so.
Okay, so your understanding is that she will be joining us. Okay. Okay, well, we'll move on. So the next portion of our meeting is public speak. But as we can see, there isn't anyone here waiting to speak to the committee. Is that correct?
Seems correct to me.
Okay. So we will open that portion of that meeting and we will close that portion of the meeting. And we will move on to what should be remarks from Mayor Nicole Lachapelle. We asked her to speak about her vision for the future of the Community Relations Committee, what her plan is with regard to our committee, also what plans she may or may not have for future training for the Undoing Racism program, training program. Like, what does she have in mind for that, for our city or people in our city? And we also asked her to speak about her plan for new appointments to the committee. We're presently down 3 members, and we've been asking her about that periodically. But in addition to that, now we have some members that are not going to be continuing on. Their terms end at the end of December. So we really need to have a plan for what's going to be happening here. So,
May I ask a question?
yes.
Of the 5 of us, do we know of anybody who's not going to be continuing? You're not going to be continuing, Deb, and you're not going to be continuing. So our 2 chairs are not continuing. I'm glad I asked the question.
Yeah, so, yeah, I was thinking that we should talk about that at some point, but yeah, I decided, I know Patty, I shouldn't speak for Patty. I'll let you speak first, Patty.
Yeah, I just, as you see, I feel badly. I'm just not able to give my time anymore. I run my own business and I'm at the mercy of my clients. And I can't see asking the committee to move times and I can't say no to my work either, so I just can't give it. And it's just, I've gotten so busy and I just can't really continue. It's just not fair for me to take the spot. I would love to stay because I think we're finally moving in the right direction. I feel like it is. And I'm concerned about, the lack of appointments and what the plan is for that. When Deb and I first took over, we had a conversation, became chairs. We had a conversation that I think this is not allowed, but my vision for a person to be chair of this committee is somebody has some experience facilitating. It would be ideal to have somebody who actually, has some skill in that regard. But
When you say facilitating, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
well, just being able to manage the conversation, the discussions, making sure that things are moving along. It's a lot. It's hard to manage, these meetings. And I think Deb's done a great job. And but there are certainly times when we, any group goes off in other directions, and somebody needs to bring that back in and have that skill to say, okay, so what are we saying we're doing here? Because otherwise, if you have a full committee of 11 people, the meetings could get really out of hand. If you don't, and then also somebody who can manage public speak well, and I just think it's not just a I'll do it, kind of thing. And I think, I think any one of you could do it as well. But it just seemed to me like, wouldn't it be great to have somebody who really was skilled in, these types of meetings and, filter information and, knowing when to sort of let things go and knowing when to kind of having to cut things off. So in the, all in, for the sake of having productive meetings.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that.
So who are the other people whose terms are up at the end of December? Do you all know who else?
You guys.
Mine is Rebecca and Emily's. And I don't, Jan must be also.
And Jan, yeah.
Is there anybody else? No. No.
So you're all planning to continue, yes? Great, that's awesome. That's wonderful news.
I mean, I wish the meeting could be just once a month, because twice a month is a little difficult, but I also see that sometimes we can't get much done when it's only once a month. So it's hard to balance,
Mhm.
but,
Yeah,
I'm grateful that you're continuing. That's going to be awesome.
mhm.
It's really huge.
Do you want to tell us why you're leaving, Deb?
Well, it was a hard decision. I put a lot of thought into it. And basically, I just have been feeling in my life just so overcommitted with volunteer things, just really overcommitted and kind of exhausted by all of that,
Mhm.
that I just decided I have to let a few things go. Like I need to pare down a little bit.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it wasn't an easy decision by any means, but
Mhm.
and especially because I'm feeling along the way, honestly, I've felt frustrated sometimes about,
Mhm.
the process and
Yeah.
trying to accomplish and
Yeah.
make a difference. And I feel excited now. I feel like we're really getting to an exciting place. So that made it hard to decide to step away, but
Well, we may be getting to an exciting place, but we have no idea what the plan is going forward.
no.
So,
And we have, yeah, that is, I think, a whole other conversation. I mean, which I think needs to happen. And I have to get rid of some of this light in here. Excuse me.
Mhm.
I'll wash it out. Yeah, I think we need to, we are getting to an exciting place. And I will tell you that, and I think Rebecca shares this, that the training we went to was really inspiring and really helpful, and to even having us placed, the CRC placed in Easthampton. But I think as a committee, my perspective is that we have never congealed. We have never gotten off the go. I don't even tell people that I'm on this committee because I feel that there's nothing I can say there's no more that I can say really than I had to say 3 years ago. So, so seriously, I definitely have energy to keep, to get us started. But, and when you, Deb, became, and Patty, the co-chairs, that was helpful, very helpful. But we have never gotten off the ground. And our membership, I would say that the 6 of us now that are here, and with Jan, who has been here much more, that that's the shooting match. There's nothing else going on here. That we are a committee in need of a beginning. And we're at, I think, a potentially really beautiful starting place. But, from what I can see, there's going to be, with the Myra, Deb and Patty said that they weren't going to be staying on the committee. That's kind of what we're talking about. Can you hear me? Myra, okay.
you're muted, I think.
I missed
Myra.
your last sentence. Sorry, I'm just getting out of an appointment.
Oh, no, we just really started, but, saying that, with Deb and Patty leaving, then the remaining 4 of us, and Jan and Gabby, I don't know, she's missed, 3 of the last 4 meetings or 4 of the last 5 meetings. I don't really know what her commitment is to this group at all. And that's all I can say. I wouldn't hire her, to be on the committee, kind of thing. But, and so we're just, I think we're at an exciting place. But as I said, Myra, before you came on, that we're not in, I don't even tell people I'm on this committee because I don't have much more to say than I had 3 years ago when I first started. So it's been 3 years of I don't know.
Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop.
Stop. You know, and I feel like the things that I've done that have kept me very connected was to work on the Mayor's Pledge work group, and then to take the training, the Undoing Racism training, and those things have kept me going, keeping on, and taking the, you know, but like I said, my community, I live in a community of 60 units here, and I have never told a soul here, really, in a public way, that I'm on this committee. Because I have nothing to say other than I'm on this committee. So, and until I have something to say, I'm not going to put myself in that position, or the CRC. So,
yeah. So we're, sorry. So I did want to say one thing, that if and when the CRC has some events or needs some support in some way, that could be like a day or something, then I would love to help. I just can't do the consistent. Obviously, I already have to leave tonight early again. So, but I would appreciate. I will follow, and I will cheer, and I would be available. I would love to, know what's happening, and if you end up having a big barbecue or something, let me know.
I say the same thing. Like, I'm so willing to help and be a part of supporting the CRC in whatever way I can. I would definitely put my heart and soul into that, to being a support for whatever we may take on.
So I did let the mayor know, and I did put the question to her again about appointments. And I got a very roundabout answer, but I suppose she's trying to see, what the numbers are going to be. She didn't give me a good answer, so I don't really know. I mean, I don't really know what to say about it, except I said I didn't know. I could only speak for myself when I told her that I wasn't coming back. So I told her I didn't know who else was coming or going, but clearly,
So that was our hope in having her here tonight, was to talk about that, the future, her vision, her plans, and also her plan for new appointments, looking at what the situation is going to be here. So it's unfortunate that she's not here yet. But I guess we can move on and hope that she might pop in.
Can I just ask? So Margaret and Rebecca and I let Lindsay Mailer know that we were going to continue. Have you let Lindsay know if you're going to continue on the committee?
I have.
I have not, because I think my term ends at a later time.
Myra's term is not over in December.
That's right. Okay.
No, it isn't.
Sorry, I spaced that out. I forgot. Yeah.
So Rebecca, have you told the mayor you're going to, okay.
Yes, I at least I emailed with my copy of the document that they had sent. And yes, I verbally told them, but yes.
Okay.
Good news. Okay, so we'll move on then with the agenda and hope that she'll pop in here at some point and we can jump back. But moving on to item number 7 on the agenda, we wanted to follow up regarding the information that Myra shared in our last meeting about the Native American Heritage Month and the community events that were happening and some of the concerns that she shared. And we all kind of sat there in silence after hearing what she had to say, not really knowing how to respond to that. And so anyway, I just wanted to open that up for further discussion. If anyone had any thoughts after thinking it over, if anybody had any comments they wanted to share. Any suggestions? Any follow-up discussion on that?
Can you just remind me what the question might be? I'm sorry.
Okay, so last month I just spoke, it was an introduction, and an announcement about Native American Heritage Month, that there were some activities happening locally, and I think it's the Eastworks building. There were upcoming events in Holyoke as well as in Springfield, and just encourage people to attend in the same way that we were encouraged to attend other events. I didn't attend the training that Rebecca and Margaret did, but I believe it was highlighting that the need for people to attend events that are happening and show its support. So that was in that same vein. And then at one of the art installations that's part of Easthampton Poet Laureate, there was some writing on the walls on the exhibit that were a bit insensitive, that were a bit let's put it unwelcoming. So those were the things that we were discussed last time.
So what do you say? What about the poet laureate? I'm confused.
Oh, so the specific exhibit, it was called Save the Man, and it was part of Easthampton's Poet Laureate program. So it was I want to say partially city funded or exhibit. So it was something that happened not just in a private space, but something that's, I guess, partially commissioned by the city or city grants. So just wanted to bring that to people's attention.
Who wrote things on the wall? Was that part of the exhibit, or was that graffiti?
No, Margaret, I made a very nice slideshow for you last time. I can't pull it up again.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember.
There was part of the exhibit where you can share your reflections. So people were encouraged to reflect about it being a memorial to Native children that were, Native children that were that died in boarding schools. So obviously it was a point of reflection, but some of the comments that were there gave a very sharp and, I can just say, unwelcoming and maybe not the most socially intelligent writings. And I was just bringing it to our committee's attention. And I didn't want to dominate the conversation. I think I mentioned it last time.
So was there, I think when you emailed about it, was there consideration last week of the CRC making a statement regarding that, or was that not something that was considered? I thought when you originally emailed to put it on the agenda, you had put something perhaps in there about the CRC making a statement regarding that.
I think we had a lot to do because we did have Lomax Campbell joining us. So I think that we didn't take the time to discuss, gee, does the Community Relations Committee want to respond to that?
Right.
Well, I also thought it was interesting because he had commented, I believe if I'm remembering this correctly, he had commented at the time, we all sat and kind of paused, digesting what Myra had shared and, thinking through that and thinking, I just felt like, oh, wow, like what possibly could we do, like for some kind of response to that, and with an eye toward fixing the situation. And of course, I don't think we can fix anything and just with any kind of simple response at all. But anyway, and then it was just interesting. I know that he commented back to his theme about the do nothing response.
Just do nothing. The shirt, that was beautiful.
And he said, well, there was a perfect example of, the appropriate thing to do is to do nothing. But I think what we take away from that is we learn, it makes us aware of these issues, the fact that they exist. And I mean, I just think it kind of just adds to our need to help educate, help set an appropriate tone for our city, and how to help, create opportunities for dialogue in the future, like those are the things that come to my mind, that it's, there's no fix. There's no one easy fix, that this is a long-term, bigger issue that's going to take an awful lot of different approaches with time.
Well, I think the sentence too, as pointed out to me, and I agree, is that at least don't do something rash right in the moment. So we got this news, which is certainly nothing I want to hear. I mean, my thoughts can go to whether, there are people in the community doing that. Does this attract visitors from other places that write things like that? But I think the do nothing is don't have a knee-jerk reaction, but we could think about it, and then we could then talk more, such as having it on the agenda tonight.
So I would say two things. One is that one thing that's, that's not reactionary would be and I think we've talked about this already, but, where does this, how does the CRC help promote exhibits, cultural exhibits, things like this, especially during, months celebrating various cultures' heritage. So, is that, I feel like that could be one way in which at least we're helping to celebrate the work that's being done.
Right.
And then I think that, I think probably the CRC would, we would, or whoever would want to discuss on a whole the idea of making public statements in regards to anything, things like this that may happen in our community. And is that something you all want to do? Is that something, are there layers of it? Are there times when maybe there's really only certain times when you have to call an emergency meeting and get a statement out quickly? Because I think the other thing that's difficult is if you don't get a statement out within some relatively soonish, then I don't want to say it's disregarded, but it's sort of there. And so I think it's something to think about. That's all. Like, is one of the CRC's places to make statements, and maybe if it and maybe it's more an exception than a rule that they do. And maybe there are times when it's absolutely obvious that you need to get together and make a statement about something, and I don't know what those things are, because I feel as if you may also get stuck in, you guys were upset about this, but you didn't say anything about this, and that could be a little trapped. Those are a few things I think that can be thought about.
Right.
I keep thinking about what Derek Dean had said, though. I think we probably should be careful because he had talked about how important it is for us to be a committee for all people and not to be perceived as
Right.
taking sides on any issues or like just being, I don't know, to make sure that we appear to be accessible to all and be representative for all, and to not, I just wonder if we are taking position statements regularly, if we're setting ourselves on some kind of a platform that then doesn't appear to be for all people in the city. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Be careful about.
I think
I'm gonna just disagree with that because if you don't take a stand on being a welcoming, as we say in our vision, if you don't take steps of being welcoming, such as writing on an exhibit about dead children, I mean, what are you doing? So I will disagree with that.
Well, I don't mean to,
Respectfully.
I don't mean to imply, Myra, obviously, this particular example, you know, it's obvious we would all be wanting to improve on that situation. There's no doubt. So I don't mean to imply that there's two sides to that. I don't mean to imply that. I just meant to put out a cautionary word about we might want to be careful as a committee to not make it a routine thing where we're making statements all the time, where then the rest of the population is just going to perceive us as, you know, kind of, I don't have the right words, but maybe condemning this way of thinking or this group or that. Like, I don't think we want to be perceived as,
Well, you know,
anyone help me out?
maybe if we can try to be consistent, I mean, it could be that we can condemn something that is an attack against a group of people. And maybe I think part of, I'd have to go and look at all our notes, but I think what our being facilitators can facilitate the learning and education. So if we made, I don't know, a statement, a remark that it came to our attention, first of all, that there was an exhibit about Native children who suffered and died. You know, Native children, natives of this land who were put in institutions trying to change their culture. I do see that people kind of disagree on maybe the whether colonization is good in trying to change a culture, although that my personal choice is that we're all welcome, that we don't need to be changing each other's culture. So what the children suffered is not a good thing. So I don't appreciate, so the unwelcoming or the unsympathetic remarks, at least for me, are unsympathetic. It's unsympathetic against a group of people who suffered, children in particular. I mean, it's a challenge. I know the ACLU tries to be fair to the extent that they have to support the KKK's right to march, for example. But I might say that on the other side, I don't like people who broad brush another group, and I don't like it if like people are categorized as bigots and brushed off as though they don't belong here. I have a problem with that too. So for me, I think it's all of the, trying to separate out a group in a bad way. I think that we want to be welcoming and that we want to be understanding, and that if somebody is, I have to maybe read those remarks. I don't remember them, Myra, but they weren't welcoming.
Mhm.
I certainly understood Myra's point that this was about children.
Well, it was also about the abuse of children, any children, but the abuse of children who were taken from
Who-
family
And who died, and who
exactly
died.
profoundly neglected and abused. So yes, but so we can say, well, I'm just reading your notes, Rebecca, just about that we're really saddened by people thinking that how these children were treated was a good thing. Child abuse is a good thing. And, child removal is a good thing. That is not an acceptable response.
So somehow my personal vision is that we're all human and that our diversity is a beautiful and good thing. That's where my bias is, and that's where I'll be coming from. And so something like this, not appreciating a sympathetic exhibit for these, what can I say, these unfortunate children ripped away from their families and some of them dying in the institutions. I think at least we can say it's sobering to see that, and we might want to point out what the exhibit was about.
I guess what I was trying to articulate before a little bit is like maybe to just want to be careful about not spending all kinds of time just calling out people or calling out groups for bad behavior, insensitive comments, inappropriate remark, whatever, like just to not take a posture of calling people out on a regular basis or situations out, but like working instead of having the focus of working toward positive, effective change, and bringing people together to make that happen, as opposed to making statements just denouncing bad behavior. I guess that's where I was trying to come from, and I guess I was thinking about Derek Dean's comments about wanting to be perceived as welcoming to all and supporting all. And so my thinking is to work with everybody and not set ourselves up as, okay, well, this is wrong.
Well, but we could say that's not what our intent is, but we can't really support anybody who really is into genocide. So, you know what I mean? So, So yeah, I hear you, and we could say, the CRC's job is to be welcoming, blah blah blah, just what you said. And however, when people go out of their way to make remarks supporting genocide,
we can't support that.
We're profoundly, it's profoundly unacceptable. I don't know exactly what the ends of that sentence is, but it's not about just calling out people. I think one of the things for me is that one of the poet laureates is Jason Montgomery and his wife, correct? Those are the poet laureates. I find that Jason is the poster child for calling out people. I don't know if he's remarkably silent about this, but don't know.
So yeah, I know you're waiting. I guess I'm wondering. I guess this is a really good conversation, and I guess I guess my original question was, on a general level, is this something making statements like, is that something the CRC wants to do? I think this particular situation, I think we could easily make a statement based on what Margaret and Rebecca just said. We're profoundly saddened by this, blah blah blah. This is not, our mission is to work towards a welcoming community, and we find it not welcoming at all. And I wouldn't have a problem one way or the other with doing that. But I think that my point is that Is that something that this group wants to spend a lot of time responding to on a regular basis when things happen? And that's a good question.
I would like us, okay, let me take a few steps back and say my intent in bringing this to the group or to the committee was an acknowledgement of what happened. So if we're on a committee, then first acknowledging and knowing the things that are happening in your area, in the city that
Right.
are unwelcome, that can be perceived as unwelcoming. They should be known, right? I'm not sure that everyone here knew about that. And I did have a discussion with several people in the arts community. I'm not a member. I have no talent in that way. And there was the takeaway was it would be a good thing if our committee would acknowledge that this happened. And it's within our wheelhouse to do so, because at the time, no one else within the city, even though I believe it's a city-funded exhibit, mentioned anything about it. So if not us, then who?
Right.
And I like to say that it's not really about the person or people's dislike for a particular artist or someone's viewpoint. A particular personality. It's about, something that happened within the community. So I didn't want to base it off, people's personal opinions of individuals, but something that happened in a space. And when I was speaking to other individuals within the art community, and I'm not going to name people's names, they mentioned that it would be perhaps a great future step to have some dialogue between the dialogue in the arts community of Easthampton to kind of discuss some have dialogue and discussions of disagreement and dissent and different high emotions that have been happening around art installations and exhibits, etc. But that's really was my only intention. I don't have a problem. I mean, if we don't acknowledge things, I think at the very minimum we can acknowledge. It's not that we need to particularly take an opinion, but we can say this occurred within our space at a bare minimum. And then we can acknowledge the real feelings that it caused and saying this, can be unwelcoming. This can be harmful language. They'd like to have a community that reflects on their words to one another. And there's no directed audience. I don't know who the individual or group is, so it wouldn't be taking a side. Wouldn't know what side it would be, other than to say, respect, mutual respect in language is important in our community.
That would be nice.
It.
That would certainly feel like very educational, like really helping our community understand. Taking a real educational approach.
Yeah. I also think many things can be true at once. Like yes, it could be difficult for us to keep up with all the negative things that happen in this community, and I think we can also respond when we hear about something. Myra brought all this information to us. There would be no harm in us responding to it. I don't think it doesn't mean we need to keep up with everything in the future. I really don't think we're going to be tracked in terms of which things we respond to and which we don't. I also think we could do it by really sort of promoting the the good things about the exhibit and everything it represents, and like just put that forth more, not necessarily like we wouldn't be pointing fingers, but just like, you know,
Raising awareness.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Sounds good.
I'm sorry I haven't been able to read the stuff carefully and keep abreast of it. Because I think, you know, like ideally I would have liked to have like picked that up last month and written something out, and then I could have read it tonight and we could have wordsmithed it and decided if it was good and figured out where to send it, and then we'd be done with it. And we wouldn't have spent the last 20 minutes debating whether to do it or not, you know, but I didn't pick it up last month.
Well, do you all agree that you'd like to put together a statement in response to the situation?
I think so.
I do.
Would anyone like to volunteer to create a draft to share with the committee at our next meeting?
I can
Or to share in advance of our next meeting? So, I mean, we can't obviously dialogue about it, but we could at least have had read it.
We could actually write it right now, probably.
Right.
We could take 10 minutes, write it, and it's done. And maybe 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay, well, let's strive for 5 minutes. Let's do it.
I found the slideshow. So if you want, I can read the remarks if you'd like to have them.
Well, you had them in your minutes.
Oh, okay, they're right there too. Yeah.
And some of it, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
they're
I
probably
didn't remember.
They're probably in the minutes. Yeah.
They are in the minutes.
Okay, I'll start off. The Community Relations Committee of Easthampton. We should play that game where like everyone just keeps filling in the sentence brilliantly.
We'll do improv.
Yeah, exactly. Was impressed by the exhibit and information contained within the blah, 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 whatever it was called.
Why is that? Why do we have to, I didn't see the exhibit, you didn't see the exhibit. I mean, the point is that it's been brought to the CRC's attention
Right.
that the presentation or the exhibit connected to Native American Heritage Month at 50 Arrow Gallery invited people to write comments, and I'm not, you can fix this, Myra, but, and several comments were seemingly in support of the death of the children who were taken from their families and died while basically, in captivity, basically, at these schools. But I mean, we don't have to say all of that, but that is not what the CRC sees as, the message from Easthampton.
Well, the reason I was using those words promoting the exhibit was because I thought that it would be better to start off with the positives of it, and people might read that and think, I didn't see that exhibit, or shoot, I should have seen it, or like it's a little bit less about immediately drawing attention to the bad thing, the one out of the 100. Well, that's
not the point of, we want to make a statement about people attending an exhibit and supporting child abuse.
No, wait, hold on, Margaret. We just discussed about the idea that we wanted to talk about the exhibit and what it represented, and then also talk about, and then condemn the actions of the words. So what I got from all the talking over the last 20 minutes was that we thought, even without going to see it, I read a lot about it, and I think it was impressive, and you don't always have to go see something in person to appreciate it. And I think to be able to say there was this you know, we have this wonderful exhibit,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, that
So-
educational in this way.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
you know, that said, the CRC condemns the words
Mhm.
of some attendees that seem to,
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
be happy about
Mhm.
side. And we don't support that. I don't know.
Right. Right.
But I think one sentence about the exhibit and how awesome it was, one sentence condemning the word,
Mhm.
the bad words.
Mhm.
So if somebody is really good at wordsmithing, I think that's what we all talked about.
Yes.
I don't know who's actually writing. I'm assuming it's Rebecca because I'm
Yeah.
I'm also writing, but
okay.
I think
I didn't start off with all the fluff. So I mean, maybe the fluff should come with from Myra.
I wouldn't mind it with starting off as factual, like Easthampton, and I don't know that specific space's name. I think it's called MAP. I don't know.
It says 50 Arrow Gallery.
No, 50 Arrow Gallery is upstairs. It's a
Oh.
different space. It's downstairs. There was different events.
Okay, so then it was MAP, then probably.
Right.
well,
Yeah.
it might be worth noting, right? November was Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month. And I'm guessing that these exhibits were on the theme of Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month. So first of all, it's I've been happy it's Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month,
Mhm.
and that people in Easthampton observed that.
Mhm.
So that's
Right.
very nice.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, maybe I'm inclined personally to use a word like being saddened to learn of some remarks added to to a display. I think it was one. I see that there's 2 slides, but this was on the same display, was it?
Yes, I that was just happened like the day that I went. I heard that
Yeah.
some of them were wiped away by other folks, and some remained.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to suspend forever
Right,
on
right.
this. I think
Right.
maybe if we can agree on some bullet points and
Mhm.
then and then move on. Like bullet is what the event was.
Mhm.
It's Indigenous Easthampton hosted
Mhm.
hosted events celebrating Indigenous Peoples Month. And I just say one exhibit. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we can say we appreciate I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking about appreciating the different exhibits that were held with locally for people to view.
To
participate in.
consider some of the wonderful and also the difficult parts of history.
Right.
I mean, some parts of history are really painful.
Mhm. And then
But
it came to
Go ahead.
then third bullet, like it came to our attention on one of the like sobering displays of I'm not saying it's one of the sobering displays, which I can't think of the word.
About the harm done.
Of our,
Well, it's counting the deaths. It's the sobering visual display
of our racist history.
But no, not hold on, Emily. Now we're just going to the factual, like the exhibit that visually displayed the scope of death of children. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We were.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that we were? We were
interned.
Yeah. And then and I'm also thinking that maybe that's when we can put our bullets of our feelings about it.
Okay, so we've now spent just
I
about
know.
10 minutes when our goal was 5. So,
Maybe we need to write up a couple of things, or I mean, I've started to write some things, and there's actually some really good pieces that are in Rebecca's minutes. You know,
So-
that Myra had said, you know, that an exhibit like this calls on the community to be welcoming, to reconcile with its past, and to have moments of reflection on the complex history of the U.S. in a sacred space and in a sacred way.
Oh, wow. I said that.
Oh, yeah.
I said that, yeah.
At least Rebecca made you sound really good, but in any case, I think that is.
No,
know,
Myra said that, yeah.
Yeah, we can, you know, to just send this out to each other and come up with some combo.
so do we want to have one person volunteer to piece that together and send it out to everybody?
Well, I think, I mean, I would do one piece, but I would send it out and people should add and subtract. You know, I mean, I think that,
Okay, we just can't have a dialogue going on via email. That's the thing. Like, we can put something out for FYI to read, digest, think about, and be prepared to respond to at our next meeting. But we can't go back and forth about it in
What if,
email.
so
what if
somebody
you
can
form
add a sentence or say, you know, you know, or send their piece, which is it, but rephrased or something added. We can't do that. We can't have a process of writing.
what if we form a subcommittee that works on it?
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that.
You can do that. I'm
More
gonna,
than a quorum can do it. Yep.
you guys, I gotta say goodnight. I'm really sorry. I will.
Hi, Patty.
Is this your last meeting, Patty?
No, I'll come to the next one.
December 14th, yeah, our next meeting. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
everyone.
Okay.
How do I get out?
All right, so we still have 5 of us, right? Okay, good. So, yeah, we could form a subcommittee if you want to do that. Do you want to do that? Okay, and then you
Sure.
all can talk about it.
So
Okay.
how many can be on the subcommittee?
Let's see. I guess we could have 3.
Okay.
I'm happy to be on it, but I'm also the least well-versed in it, and I feel like
So how about
Rebecca
I
and
do
Myra
it
might-
and Rebecca and Myra? Myra,
So-
are you interested, or shall we just send you? You be part of it. We'll send you the stuff, and you smush it.
I just don't say anything?
You're not on the sub. You don't have to be on the subcommittee
Oh, okay.
unless you'd like to.
Yes.
Well, I'm the person with the least amount, well, not, I'm not sure if the least amount of time, but I will try. Sure.
Or you want Rebecca and I to do it, and we'll send it to you, to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't know. Sure, I can, yeah, you can,
Yeah, why
add
don't-
me in.
Yeah, why don't Margaret and Rebecca work on it? You're the subcommittee, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, get it perfect, and then bring it on the 14th. How's that?
Okay, perfect. Apparently I've given you sparkly things to work
Yes,
with.
you have said beautiful things.
Okay, beautiful things.
So just one other thing I just want to say before we move on is, like, I feel like I certainly haven't not explained myself very well at all through this conversation, but like, one of the things that just stand out to me is, like, I know Patty used the word condemn this and condemn that. And I think that's my point. And that's what I was trying to get at, is that I think it would be better for us as a committee not to condemn, but there are ways to make the point, and there are ways to educate people, and there are ways to create awareness, I think, without doing that.
Right.
I was
Using that kind
saddened,
of
I
language.
was very saddened to find that at an exhibit like this, that this type of language was added.
I know.
And there are more
Would-
wonderful ways of saying that, but
Right. But you guys
And-
get it. You get what I mean. You understand.
Mhm.
Okay, very good.
Right. So it's more about reflection on the moment, what transpired. I think that's great.
Right. I guess that's the whole thing. I just feel like we want to be careful not to be condemning anybody in the process.
Right.
Yes, thank
We
you.
don't even know who wrote all of that, you know.
Right.
So.
No, I know, yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you all. I trust that it's going to be magnificent. I have every faith, every bit of confidence that it will be. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next item on our agenda, follow-up discussion on our meeting with Dr. Lomax Campbell. If anyone had anything they wanted to follow up with, talk about, discuss.
I'm sure he wanted to ask the mayor a whole lot of questions, like when's the follow-up?
I know. Well, I personally, I just have to say, I was like so excited listening to him. I just thought, wow, like talk about inspirational. It made me so excited about
Did
wanting to
anybody
attend the training, wanting to, learn
did
more.
anybody get to go and meet him? I wasn't able to go to the Saturday with the mayor.
I couldn't either. Sadly.
I don't think the Saturday. I don't think I was invited.
It was some sort of, was it just the mayor's something or other on Saturday at the brewery, and he was going to be there, and
Yeah,
invited?
they were
Had an election celebration.
celebrating her
Mhm.
winning
Her
the election.
re-election. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't go.
Yeah, I couldn't go either, sadly.
I won't lie. We went out for lunch.
Yeah. Right.
It was really good.
Well, that's good.
Well, when you say we, do you mean you and your family, or do you mean you and Lomax Campbell and others?
Yes, we had a quick bite to eat, and within the many meetings that he had. So
Wonderful.
I wasn't invited to the event on Saturday. So anywho, but I was certainly happy about his presentation that he gave here, and I felt as when he was speaking, there was, some additional momentum about the trainings and hopefully future trainings, and it felt like in terms of the forum about building community, it seemed like we were on the right path.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
I was a little astounded at the price he announced. I was like, whoa. So I was a little worried about that, about what we would be able to do.
There wasn't really a price quoted for Zoom either, was there? But there was a price for the in-person that included all the hotels and the meals and but I noticed that we didn't really have a price on the Zoom approach.
Well, I feel like the city must have paid, and
They did.
because they had been starting these meetings, right?
So they must be aware of future costs, I'd like to hope. Yeah.
And it sounds like didn't he say that once you're a participant, then you could have follow-ups with no further cost? So that might cover Margaret and me because we were able to go. And I think, this is where I would recommend continuing to invite the mayor, because there are just so many things that she would know, because, does she foresee a follow-up? Will there be yet another training? Is the city doing more of these? Can more of us attend?
I think his answer was yes. I don't know what her answer will be, but I'm certain it's not a once-off training. Because it seems like, the whole point is to have some continuity.
Right, and I haven't read the report that you, Rebecca, sent to us that he was part of.
Yeah, I guess I found at least one report. Was that the Blueprint Easthampton?
Yes.
I get them all confused at
Yes,
some point.
Blueprint Easthampton, I think he was part of that. I got a little confused myself, but
It wasn't terribly exciting or interesting. It was just about some businesses.
well, it's about economic development in the city. And then she actually, you sent us, or did I read some, there was a news press release that off of the work, I think, that was done by Dr. Campbell, that there were graduates of the program and a woman starting her own business as a baker. I mean, I only skimmed it. I didn't
Right.
really get, but the mayor just sent out a press release in the last couple of days about something like that. All I can say is everything feels extraordinarily disjointed, and that's how it seems to me. When we're at our meetings, I feel like there's a little bit of cohesion, but then weeks go by or a month goes by, and who was here this week isn't here next time, and we're just floating, a lot of floating.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do about that. All I know is that I don't particularly find it satisfying at all.
You've got to wear that shirt, Margaret.
Just do nothing. But doing nothing isn't doing nothing. Doing nothing is a choice, is a chosen strategy to just be mindful, to think about what you want to do next, to be
Well, we still need enough information, right? So hopefully the mayor will have some time to be able to meet with us soon.
and I would say if she cannot meet with us on the 14th, then we shouldn't meet. I don't think that I don't think that November is an extraordinarily, December is a very busy month for most people. And if the mayor can meet that day, we should definitely meet if we can definitely get a positive. Yes. And in fact, are we now meeting on I asked this the other day, are we now meeting on Tuesdays for whose benefit is exactly what I want to know. And if Tuesdays conflict with the school committee and this and that, I mean, I don't need to meet on a Tuesday. Do you, Emily, need to meet on a Tuesday?
Right now I can't meet on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and
Okay.
I just let go of my Monday commitment, which could be switched to Tuesday if Monday worked for people. But
Myra, what about you?
Wednesday is not good presently. Not, and I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, so Tuesday works because I've kind of cleared Tuesdays off. But
Then we should keep. Then that's one reason we should keep it.
but it doesn't mean it's the only day.
Anyway, so what do people think about not meeting if the mayor can't be here?
I think it depends on our agenda, what we want to accomplish. So if there's things that we can accomplish,
all right, we were
like our statements or and whatever else we have, any
Why don't
updates.
let's finish this agenda for tonight, and then at the end of when we're finished, we can talk about that, okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to move on to number 9 and talk about some of the action points from our strategic planning sessions with Derek Dean. Myra and Emily were following up with Easthampton Media about any possible training that they might be willing to help with regarding a tutorial for the city website. Do you folks have any update on that topic?
I still haven't heard. I wrote them again a few days ago or half a week ago. I was told that there was a new director. So I sent an email and I was not able to get the name of the new director, I don't think, anyway, I sent it out and I still haven't heard back.
Okay.
I haven't picked up the phone to call just because I'm so busy at work and I forget. This is bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just keep assuming someone's going to write me back.
Yeah.
I have not heard back.
Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah. It was a little confusing. Lindsay or Karen Camahort said they would be talking to Easthampton Media, a new director, and they would run the project by them. But then when I wrote them again, like, did you talk to them? They were like, no, you guys are supposed to talk to them. Like she totally ignored the fact that she said she would be bringing up the project with them, at least bringing it up. So, anyway, so I wrote them again and I haven't heard back.
Okay.
I can really busy with to my other things that I can.
Okay, how about, how, do you all hear an echo now? I wonder what that's about. Okay. Reviewing our list of groups, organizations, government agencies, and et cetera, that we were compiling for outreach. Did anyone submit some additions to that list to Rebecca?
I
Rebecca,
did
you receive
not.
anything?
It's been just a busy time.
Rebecca, did you receive anything from anyone? No?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
Yeah. So where are we going to put the list, and does it need to be perfectly full at this point?
Well, probably not. It's a starting point, right? There's a
Right.
lot on it. There's a lot that Rebecca compiled.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are we going to be posting it on our Facebook page?
Well, I think the goal was to reach out to people and establish relationships with them, right? So that we would have a list of people we could turn to as things arise to partner with when it comes to promoting events or having people assist with events, or is that correct? Would everyone agree with that? I think it was establishing relationships with these groups first.
Right. Should we be doing that? I don't think we can do that before we hear from the mayor, because what if the mayor says, actually, I'm going to call the committee this now, and you're going to be joining with this other committee, and it's going to be a new name, and, I don't think we should reach out yet.
And I'm not, and I would really like to have a talk with her, because how is it that, I understand that this is a slow process. I understand a lot of things, but we are where we started 3 years ago, more or less.
Right.
So if we were to join another committee, if we were to be refocused, renamed, I would welcome that myself. If there was a point, if there was a reason. I don't feel like the Community Relations Committee has an identity to be lost.
Right.
Particularly.
Well, I think it's going to be really important to hear from her for going forward, just to, yeah.
Yes. So how can we know if she can come on for our next meeting?
Well, I'll reach out to her. I'll send her an email and see what I can accomplish for a commitment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Rebecca, we're going to hold on to that list and we're going to set it aside. And in looking at it quickly, I just remember it struck me that I didn't know of any organizations off the top of my head, but I was just thinking that it would be great if we had like some LGBTQ organizations on there, or just to round out our focus. But that was just what jumped out at me, but I didn't do any research to find out what those organizations should be. I didn't do that. So anyway, just a thought, just want to mention that again. Okay, so the next one was the Forum Subcommittee regarding planning on the most recent idea of promoting programming for neighbors to getting to know neighbors. Any additional thoughts on that?
I think it's still a good idea, and I'm hoping we can still do it. The cold is a little bit intimidating to me, and the increase in COVID cases is a little intimidating. I looked at the dashboard for Easthampton today. But I'm hoping we can still do it, and I think we're going to have to, again, hear from the mayor about anything different with our committee, or who the members are, and when we could, have a good introduction to us. Doesn't make sense to schedule an event in January when we could have a blizzard anyway, and then actually have 4 new members to the committee come on in February or March.
Right.
I don't know.
It seems to make sense to plan it for spring, nice weather. Yeah,
Right.
that seems to make a lot of sense. Okay.
Or we plan it in a big space indoors somewhere, or I don't know, or, in the upcoming, I'm sure there's going to be like the wintertime event that we have. Maybe we have a little warming hut at that thing and offer hot chocolate, and we have a sign CRC, and, stay tuned for neighborhood gatherings, hosted by the CRC or something like that,
That
What's
doesn't
that
sound like
festival?
a bad idea. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, what's the name of that festival that we always have in February? What is it?
That winter, is it Winter Festival?
Winterfest? Yeah, can't remember. But yeah, I'd be psyched for that.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I have not been to one.
I know. I've seen the people over by the pond and like been intimidated to go over because I actually I'm not an ice fisherman. I don't have kids. But yeah. So I haven't been to those. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would go if I had a reason. If I was manning a booth or some sort of warming hut, or
Right. Okay. Well, does anyone want to just be responsible for being on the lookout for that details on that event, dates, timing, and initiate at the proper time?
Sure, I can do that. Okay.
Okay. I can help with that. I've never been, but I'd gladly help. And I think the neighborhood gatherings, I also continue to think it's a good starting
Right.
place.
Right. Yeah.
For the Winter Festival, it might be some advanced time might be necessary to be to be a participant. I'm not sure how. I don't even know who puts that on exactly. What organization?
And it's hard to know what's going to happen this year,
Right.
in terms of any kind of outdoor festivals or whatever. Some things are canceled, some things are going forward.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because I think it didn't happen last year. I don't think.
No, it did. Something
It did?
did happen last week.
Okay.
Or last year. Something did happen.
Okay.
It was all outdoors.
All right. So Emily, do you want to be the person to just
Sure. I'll look into
got
that.
that information? Okay, perfect. Keep everybody informed. Okay, so next on the agenda is talking further about CRC members getting to know each other on a deeper level. Getting to know each other. Do you think there's an opportunity to do that this winter? Or do you think because of COVID that really needs to wait till it can be outside as well at this point with all the uncertainty around all the latest COVID stuff?
Well, it might be a little easier to talk about. I mean, with open meeting law, then we might be able to do that if it was an open to the public event.
Well,
Maybe we
you
can go
all
to
can
Winterfest.
gather, like you all could have dinner together, like in a CRC, you could do that as long as you don't talk about CRC business. You're allowed to socialize. So, like this whole group could get together for dinner in public or not, or whatever. There's nothing saying you can't do that. You just can't discuss business.
I just noticed a new cafe over by Tong Sing, the Chinese restaurant, and by El Caminito. I had no idea it was there.
It just opened. I just noticed it today myself.
Yeah.
It's the guy next door, the Computer Works or something like that. He told me months ago that his wife was going to be opening this cafe,
Oh,
and there it is now. I don't know. I just drove by.
yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I was just thinking it was a place we could meet, check it out. But, yeah.
Well, in the future, if you all are getting together and you feel like inviting any riffraff, I'd love to come see him.
Okay.
But if not, that I totally get that too. I'm not in the inner circle. I won't be in the inner circle
Well,
anymore.
I think we can aim for that. We can support a local business, and as who was it
Mm-hmm.
mentioned like we can do that little icebreaker where we bring something that was important
right.
to us in some sort of way and have
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be very
Yeah.
cool.
Culture share.
I think that
Right.
would be amazing. I think that would be so helpful for this whole
Mhm.
group to like really get to know each other and bond
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
aside from our little Zoom discussions.
Okay. So
Right.
I don't think that we have to do that via meeting law to figure out where we'd like to maybe meet.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's
Figure that
true.
out.
Right. So if we're not discussing any public business, we can
Mm-hmm.
do what
Do
we
whatever you
wanna
want. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be traveling over in December, so I'll be around.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, I think adding one more social event to December is not a good idea. So,
I won't be traveling in January either.
January, December or January.
Oh, no.
No, just January's good. I mean, whatever, we can figure it out. Or if December, well, you're gone. You're going to be gone in December, some of December, yes? Myra, you said you're going to travel in
No,
December?
she said she's not. She said she's not.
Oh, I thought you were traveling. No. Hey, that's good, especially if there's some downtime after the big 25 day. You know,
It's big 25 day.
the big 25 day.
At first I'm like, what? Oh,
Some of us just need to get past the 25.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't speak to me, really.
Yeah.
So,
I wish I didn't need to deal with the 25. My mother is making me continue to deal with it. You'd think I could let go of it at my age, but no.
Okay.
I had a crazy grandmother whose birthday was the 25th. So it was,
Oh.
not, it was the combo was not ever.
Oh dear. Okay. So that brings us back to our last topic of next meeting date. Do we want to meet on the 14th? Do you want to?
If the mayor can attend, I 100% want to meet on the 14th,
Okay.
given that that's set up already. If
And
other
what
people-
about what about meeting to at least review the statement that you and Rebecca are working on?
Mhm.
So if we don't have the mayor, then it'll be a brief meeting with that being the agenda item.
Be pretty short.
And if you had anything about the
And then
winter
if I
fest,
got stuff to report, yeah. I
What'd
need
you
a
say,
deadline.
Laura? Anything that you had, what did you say?
about the winter fest, if we
Yeah, like if I've got information. Yeah. If I've got information about Easthampton Media or the Winterfest, yeah.
Okay, and then we won't put on the agenda all the things we want to keep alive here, but you will all be remembering all the other components of things we want to keep working on, like the possibility of tutorials and the forging relationships with the organizations and all that. Okay. All right. So, all right, we'll meet on the 14th and we'll assume we can get Mayor Lachapelle's participation that night. And at the very least, we'll be reviewing the statement and checking in on a couple other minor things.
I actually was looking forward to her presence because I saw her interview with, was it Dave Madison on the news where they were highlighting Easthampton community relations. So
Oh, cool. When was that, Myra?
that's a good question. I don't remember. maybe a week
and
ago.
maybe you sent a message out about that, right?
I did, but I don't remember the day.
Maybe I'll find
was
that.
Did you say David Madison? Who's that?
Dave Madsen.
He's not the newscaster.
Channel 40.
Channel 40.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to like zone out and put on the TV and then
That
I
was
saw
not-
us
that
all
was-
in the interview.
That was November 21st.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I looked around a little for that. I couldn't find a recording. Maybe I'll look further since you mentioned it was with Dave Madsen.
How do you spell Madsen?
Madsen.
Okay, well, it doesn't come up with their two names together, but, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do our best. I'll keep you posted, and we'll see each other on the 14th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Correct?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Yeah, I make a motion to
and I
adjourn.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion.
Okay.
It's been seconded. We'll do roll call for the vote. Rebecca Passa,
Yes.
Connie Dougherty's no longer here. Emily Britton,
Yes.
Margaret Kirstein,
Yes.
Deborah Lusnia, yes. Myra Oyedemi,
Yes.
yes. Okay. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.